I sent some off for testing. I'm like, this is poison. You were poisoning us. They just all hit at once, and it was just like, and I was just like, what am I doing? And I just stepped away, and I was still crying when she came home for like 3 hours later. Kids, this one's got a hole in it. Wonder what noise that's going to make. It just went, ah! Went, sounds like a screaming chimp.
Well, hello there and welcome to the third series in the About Small Business podcast. Really excited to be doing this third series. Thank you so much for everyone's support. And in this, kicking off this series, I'm actually going to be speaking to Niall McKay-Mount from Screaming Chimp Chilli Sauces. Right, I think I've got everything right there because, Neil, welcome, because your name's spelt Niall.
Yeah, well, spelt Niall with 2 L's as opposed to the 1 L.
And that comes from?
Well, the Irish is 1 L.
Right.
The sort of they're all Gaelic anyway, but yeah, the Scottish is 2 L's and it's Niall.
Right. So we're pronouncing that correctly.
It's Niall, yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. And Screaming Chimp Chilli Sauces. It sounds really exciting. I do absolutely love the name. So we're also screaming creativity there as well. And so can you just tell me a little bit about the sauces?
About the sauces themselves?
About the sauces themselves.
Oh,
the product that you sell.
They're predominantly as natural as I can possibly get. The mayonnaise that I make already I use a catering size mayonnaise which already has something in it, a preservative in it. But I don't add any preservatives. There's no artificial colours. There's no things like MSG, bulking agents, starches, gums, weird stuff. It's just 100% food. So when I used to work at a few different places, the last one that really made me think about food, really, what it is doing to people, what the additives are doing to people's gut health, mental health over time, mental capacity, loads of different things. I just was like, I don't really want any of that stuff in my food. I don't want to be people's problem, and I don't want people to be having to do mental gymnastics around things that aren't food to get to the food bit. It was always just, I just want you to taste the food, you don't need all the other stuff. Mine have got a 2-year shelf life without any nonsense in them. So
2-year shelf life, though.
Yeah, the majority of them have. Yeah, like the pineapple original, Chipotle, Screamer. What else has Stinger, Mango and Papaya, Vic Soul Smoky? They all got a 2-year shelf life,
right? Because
that's what I've paid for. I kept batches. I kept bottles of my first batches,
the
first ever batches that I made, and I had them real time tested. I had them accelerated shelf life tested initially just to get them out onto the market, and then in a year I tested one of the first batch again, and in 2 years' time I tested another bottle.
Right. So, how long have you been doing the Screaming Chimp for?
So I made my first ever sauce in April or May 2015.
Because
that was original. That was a completely different.
That's interesting. Because I'm just curious about your motivations. Because at the minute, if I go on TikTok or looking at reels on Facebook, that kind of thing, everyone's talking about gut health. Mm-hmm. Everyone's talking about, and I'm just picking up on what you said about the mental health that these additives are affecting.
Yeah.
So you're kind of quite ahead of your time. How did you know?
Just a bit of research, really. I'd just seen lots of different studies on different things, and the thing is, I quite often, if I'm reading studies, obviously I'll read mainstream studies as well, regardless of what it is. And then I'll read independents, and then I'll look at who funds, and then I'll find out based on lots of different studies, whatever it is, whatever subject it is, I then more likely to lean to independent studies, which aren't sort of bought and paid for by corporations or billionaires with vested interest, big pharma, or all these other different places. Like whenever I walk into a place, I can smell and taste things. I feel things on my tongue. I'm like a super taster. I'm very sensitive, even with my eyes. When I went to the optician, She's like, you're very, very awkward, you know. I was like, why? She said, you pick up on every single little point. Like, quite often people will, the majority of people will their tolerances will be sort of 3 or 4 points, you know, when we're looking at different prescriptions to try and find out the right prescription. She said, but you pick up on every single little change.
Right. That's
so I've just honed it over the years.
Yeah.
And it's just, my brain's just in tune now
and that's for all your
to
senses.
pick up on BS for one. My main is like, you can say what you like, but I know it's not true. So, you know, I didn't really like the taste of things and the mouthfeel of some things. And then I looked at ingredients. I was like, that's exactly that's what I don't. Want. I don't know when you pour out things and they're like gloopy, and it's like, that's not natural. You don't get that from any of my sources. You know, some people are like, why are they separating? Because they're real food. What? Well, yeah, because they haven't got starches, gum, and all that stuff. The bulking agents that hold them together. You know, I essentially just reduce my pan so it gets to the sauce gets to the consistency that I want it to be, and then I don't have to add any nonsense in. Well, right, okay. Well, I don't like how it feels. It feels like food. You know, I haven't blitzed it with an inch of its life to feel like ketchup.
Do you think then, more generally, as a society, we've become accustomed to all these additives?
Yeah.
That your fresh stuff, your normal stuff.
Well, you look at the food, look at the supermarkets. So you got a health food aisle, and to be honest, most of it's not health food anyway. In my opinion, is that the only health food that there is out there are fruit and veg, which don't have additives, you know, which some do. Meat, which doesn't have water and other things injected into it.
Yeah.
And then dairy, which doesn't have any additives as well. And really, you know, I'd prefer the shops to sell unpasteurized stuff, but that's, you know, what it is. It is what it is. So yeah, the rest of the shop is just full of crap. Really, I mean, you just got to read it, and like even flour. You know, I have a lot of bakers that say, you know, that's like, you know, we try and do it as natural as possible. You know, really, bread should, you know, it's flour, water, and you know, it's salt or whatever. You don't really need anything.
What did strike me was, I mean, when I hit 40 and you go for like your little MOT, and you know, I've talked about this before, and within my family, there's you can look at it one of two ways. There's either a susceptibility to type 2 diabetes, or there's a susceptibility to eating too many cakes and sweets or drinking too much. I mean, whichever way you want to see it, I've got it.
Yeah,
I'm not type 2 diabetic because I do, regardless of how I look, I do get myself down the gym fairly regularly.
I think you look quite fit and healthy.
Thank you very much. So you're very kind. But when I was told that, it's like, look, your sugar levels are high. Mm-hmm. I do need to do something about it. I had at 40 got 2 young children that I didn't want to. I mean, just by the nature of having kids, I think you do get the dad bod, notorious dad bod, because you don't have the time to do anything about it, unless you're, you know. I mean, I know people say you make time, but it's, you know, there's still only 24 hours in a day. But I didn't know I needed to cut down on the sugar. So I signed up for the gym and said, right, I'm going to attempt to control my diet. At that point, I did, as you've been able to do with your taste buds, I'm then having to look at labels and see the phenomenal amount of sugar that is in more or less everything. Yeah. And it does annoy me when people say, oh, it's really easy to eat healthily. And I'm sorry, it's not. It's
not. Well, look, like I say, when you look at the rest of the supermarket, and it's like, and then you got things like yeast extract in everything, and you got MSG going into loads of stuff. I know some people say it's not, or a lot of people say it's just a single salt. It would be in its natural form, yeah. But like when you add things in, like I was starting to say about flour, you know, it's all been stripped out, you know, and then you add in all the additives to try and bring it back to what it really should be. It's like, it's not doing the same thing in the body anymore.
No,
it's not. It's just like, you know, like how lemon juice, it's an acid.
Yeah.
But it converts into an alkali in your body. So drinking lemon water is very good for you. In the first thing in the morning, half an hour before eating, last thing at night before you go to bed.
Right. So have you always been
No,
that healthy guy?
I used to be. Well, I say used to be. Like in the 90s, I did rave dancing for a living. Well, I got paid doing rave dancing for a bit. Like in the daytime, I'd be working at like Multifine doing rotational plastic moulding or something like that, and then go and get paid from Thursday till Sunday, dancing at big parties.
Right. When we first met, you mentioned that, and I've got to ask you, how did you land that job?
I just knew some people in the industry. I did stage lighting for a company called Supermic Lighting. I don't even know if they're still around. And yeah, you just meet people. And one of my friends was opening a club, and he said, like, can you come and do this? Yeah, I just used to go and I don't know. I just got asked after the first one. I just got asked to go and do more, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, there was that, and then but that was sort of, let's face it was drink and drug fueled.
Yeah.
So although I was dancing for 10 hours, it's probably not like real exercise, So yeah, no, it was really only my health conscious side of things really only came when I wanted to start making decent food for people instead of. I mean, don't get me wrong, mine has still got a little bit of Demerara sugar in.
Yeah.
But it's Demerara sugar that's not bleached. It's still got the trace minerals that our body needs, a bit like the Himalayan pink salt that I use for the peanuts. It's got the right trace minerals that our body needs to hydrate and to, like, people say you shouldn't be consuming so much salt. Well, I'm not consuming so much salt, but you shouldn't just drink plain water either. You need electrolytes on your body. So you put a pinch of salt in a litre of water, like real, Himalayan pink salt or something like that, or fleur de sel or something like that. Then it helps your body hydrate. You can't, like, just drinking plain water it's not really any use.
Yeah.
Not really. And tap water is really bad. So we've got like a filter system underneath the sink, and a separate sort of tap for, I mean, that takes out really, really small particles, takes out, bacteria, takes out, viruses and stuff like that. It's loads of good things.
What prompted that then? Because you go into
what
raves...
prompted it was me... What, the water thing?
Just generally, this sort of more...
It was just a gathering of information over time.
Yeah.
And one time, like 10 years ago, we had this... the water was just... Like, you run the tap and it just smells of bleach. So I'm like, well, this is disgusting. So I had the water board out, and they have these wheels, these colour wheels. And ours was completely off. It was like... It was a lot higher. It was a lot further than the brightest of the magenta on the wheels. So I sent some off for testing. I'm like, this is poison. You're poisoning us. You're trying. What? This is not right. This, you shouldn't be. Nobody really should be. Anyway, I was going to say nobody should really be paying the water bills because they're essentially trying to poison you. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm not having this. I've dealt with it for a while. And then when we were trying for a child, I'm like, I'm not giving my kid this. I'm not giving my child this water. I'm not making milk with this poison. And then, so, I put the water thing in, and then a week later he was born. So that was quite a good timing, really. And it's just, it's done very well. It takes all the bleach out, takes all the chemicals out. It's just, it's good.
And obviously you wanted to apply that similar...
Yeah, well, obviously the sauces. I've been doing that with the sauces anyway, so I just didn't want to add anything. I didn't see the point in adding stuff. Like when I had my first 5 in for shelf life testing, walked around the supermarket, I was like, I don't like this read. This is not good. Mine don't have any of these. Let's see how they come back. See if I had to add anything. And when they came back with a year, I was like, oh, okay, I don't have to add anything. And then when it came back with a year later, with 2 year shelf life, I was like, well, I'm on the right path here. So that's how I carried on making all my other products. And so that when I do the limited editions each month, that's the same MO. It's the same process of making, essentially. As fresh as ingredients as I can possibly get. Like the rhubarb and habanero preserve, I wait till the end of August. Well, till August. And I make that. So I bank all of the rhubarb that I pick through the year wash it, destalk it, chop it up, whack it in the freezer. Cooks better after being frozen.
Yeah.
With cell walls breaking down, and then come to August when I do my very, very last pick. All goes, get all the stuff out of the freezer, bosh, make the product. So while there's people out there making stuff with force grown rhubarb and that, fair enough, that's all good, but it's forced. You're forcing it. It's not a natural, real process. So I like things to be, natural.
Yeah.
Look at my hair, for God's sake.
And why not, eh? Why not?
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of your career journey, I mean, you mentioned your first job when we were having a quick chat before we got in. And your first job with your parents' lawnmower.
Yeah.
11 years old. So
yeah, little Mountfield.
you've got an early entrepreneurial streak there.
Yeah, we used to
not
wash
everyone
cars
does
and
that.
Well, I think that stemmed from being in Cubs and Scouts, and we used to do Bob a Job.
All right.
So you go around helping people, you do jobs, they give you a bit of sponsor.
Do they still do that?
I have no idea, mate.
Because I know I think we've got a boys' brigade around here.
I was in the newspaper with my older brother for doing the Chief Scouts Challenge. Chief Scouts Challenge. There were two brothers, like, I don't know, we were the first brothers in like a long, long time.
Yeah.
To do, of different ages, to do the Chief Scouts Challenge at the same time. So they put us in the newspaper. But I was in the newspaper for ballet and all sorts of different stuff as well when I was young.
Right.
Yeah. Been on the radio.
So you trained ballet dancer as well?
Yeah, I did. I got kicked out when I was 13 for teaching breakdancing to the other girls when she went to the toilet. She was like, and not just that, but
I'm now seeing that the rave dancers now making sense.
Yeah, but it was actually for. She said it was for insolence. So it was. I remember distinctly that one time she'd been teaching us these moves and calling them what they were. And the next week she was calling the same move something completely different. I'm like, hold on, this is not a part of bars, this is not whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what are you talking about? Are you questioning me? So I was like, yeah, you're wrong. And I'm like, am I wrong? And the girls were just silent. Because I wasn't the only boy in there. And so after that, she sent a letter home the next week. I do not want your son back in my class again.
Were you disappointed at that, or
not really? I used to be in fights at school all the time. Like, broke so many pairs of glasses. Like, oh, you're gay, you're this, you're that, blah blah blah. Oh, really? I'll show you how gay I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was always in fights at school, or stuff like that. I think I was on report in the first month of the first year at secondary school for fighting for that reason.
Right.
Because of ballet.
So it's reasonable to say I
hated it.
You didn't enjoy school.
I didn't really enjoy school that much. Well, actually, no, there were lots of bits that I did enjoy.
Yeah.
I didn't like the education system. I didn't really like what was being taught. I didn't like the way that it was being taught. So I really learned history and sciences and things like that after school because that was something I had interest in. It's just that I don't like the system, the way that it was being taught, and everybody's got to jump through the same hoop. Well, not everybody's going to fit. Everybody's got all the like that meme that's about at the moment, like all the fish, the monkeys, the elephants, and the thingy. Right, all climb the tree, but it's not possible. Not everybody learns the same way.
Yeah, it's interesting because at the minute it does seem as though it's getting worse because. Yeah. You've got, the home ed. I was chatting to a group of other business owners the other day, and just the growth in home ed. Parents that just decide, the kids aren't fitting in. It's whether it's from lockdown, whether you want to blame it on smartphones, or just an inflexible system. But it's interesting the way you're talking.
It's definitely an inflexible system
because we're a similar age.
Yeah,
and. For me, I was lucky. I was very lucky. I enjoyed school. Mm-hmm. I didn't really get much bother.
No.
I was fortunate. I was always quite a big lad, but I wasn't an intimidating lad. Mm-hmm. So it's like you could have a go if you wanted, but you're not going to get many brownie points because I've not got that reputation. And if it goes pear-shaped for you, then you might end up looking really stupid. So I don't know. I think I maybe avoided quite a lot of aggro that way.
There was only a couple of people, but those people were constant. I know I used to hang out with the cool kids, or the perceived cool kids.
Yeah.
But then, because I took myself so seriously at school because of the ballet thing and because I was made to do scouts and all the other different things, and I missed out on parties and doing all the other things because my parents were quite strict, I rebelled.
Yeah.
When I got to 15, I'm like, I'm not doing any of this stuff anymore. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to church choir. Although I used to love going to Peterborough Cathedral and singing with loads of other people. Who, you know, when I was in junior school, went to the Royal Albert Hall and sang with loads of other choirs and the Derngate Theatre in Northampton. So I did lots and lots of good,
so you've done
healthy,
an awful lot.
homely. Well, not home, but I did lots and lots of good things. In the early part of life, and then like I say, I reached 15, I was like, I'm rebelling, fuck you lot, like, you know. So so that was that. And then obviously the 20s were sort of all a bit dancing, bit of, you know, bit drinking drugs and stuff like that. And then
what kind of jobs were you doing? I mean, did you go? I'm assuming.
Oh, so
you didn't enjoy school that much. So I'm assuming you didn't go to university or anything like that.
No, I never went to university. I did a couple of the jobs. I was able to do data release. So when I was doing silk screen printing, I wanted to learn about how to make the screens and lots of other different types of printing, like gravure printing for newspapers and stuff like that. So I wanted to learn all these different things. So it was like, well, there's a reprographics course at Northampton. You can start that. You can do day release there.
Yeah.
So I started that, and then the company went bust. So I lost that course. Couldn't carry on doing the course.
Right.
When I was doing stage lighting, we were 6 weeks late to start the course at Paddington, the actual stage lighting course. So instead of that, they put us on an electrical installations course in Northampton at Booth Lane. But then I had this accident at work, which left me a piece of steel fell on my head, knackered my back and my neck and my hips. So I was out of work for 2 years. Do you still have problems with that? No. I went to see a friend of mine. This is really strange, but I went to see this friend of mine. Now, how spiritual you are, whatever it is, I don't know. But like how much you believe in things, I don't know. But for 4 years at this point, I've been struggling. I was out of work for 2 years, and then I was doing little bits here and there. But for the next 2 years, so that's 4 years altogether from the accident. And this one time, I went to my friend, and he said, "Look, I know you're still struggling. Why don't you write down on a piece of paper, write 2 columns?" He said, "I want to know everything that physically is affecting you, and then write down everything that's mentally affecting you, like, you know, things that you feel you can't do, whatever it is that's affecting you mentally." And I was like, "Okay, what's the point in this?" He's like, "Just leave it with me, it's fine." And I hadn't seen him for about 6 weeks. I went back and he said, "Have you had any problems? You know, your neck and back and stuff?" I was like,
"Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, mate. Not for the last few weeks." He was like, "Funny you should say that, because I got my healing candle out, and I did, you know, I was part of this this ancient religious thing, African religion." He said, I'd got my healing candle out, and he said I did some you know, some work on all the things that you'd written down, and I haven't had a problem since.
So is that
and I didn't know he was going to do anything. I didn't know anything
were you
about it.
Before you went in to speak to him?
Yeah.
Were you quite sort of spiritual yourself? Would you believe that he could do that?
No.
So previously quite cynical. Now, I mean, has it changed your view, or are you still sort of relatively? Well,
I've had ever since. I mean, I'm not religious at all, but I'm spiritual. I've had a lot of things that have happened over the years. I've got rid of quite a few spirits out of various different houses. My sister's the same. My mum's the same. You know, my dad's a little bit like that as well. We kind of just, Albie's like it. My son's like it. Right. You know, he just, like, we had Shadow Man in the house. Walking across the window. Not fast, not anything like, you know, not scary. And I was like, "Do you like Shadow Man?" It's like, "Yeah." He just bent down and looked in my camp, because he used to build him a camp like right next to down the side of the radiator by the window. Would stick the
just to clarify, Shadow Man
is like this ghost spirit type thing,
right?
So you see him walking backwards and forwards, or whatever it is, slowly, just chimbling, just like, you know, not bothered, not scary, not really disjointed or anything like they show on the films or anything like that. It's just there, you know. Every now and again, you'll see Shadow Man. He calls it Shadow Man.
Right.
I really like Shadow Man. Really? Yeah, he's just bent down and looked in my camp. Oh, has he? Right, okay. leave it with me. About 2 days later, I decided I was going to walk round and do my normal thing of like, you know, you're not welcome here, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why you're here. Dress shadow man, because obviously that's what Albie calls you. I said, I don't really know if what your goal is here. I don't know if you're here. I don't know if you're Mr. Field that used to live here. I don't know if you're one of my dead friends. I don't know what you are. But because you just bent down and looked directly at my son, I said, now I'm going to have to ask you to leave. So I went through that process, and I left it a couple of days because it was normally, you know, pretty much every day or every other day they would see.
Yeah.
So I was like, I didn't tell Albie I was going to do anything. So I said, have you seen Shadow Man lately? You know, your friend. He's like, no, you told him to go. I was like, what? Yeah, you told him to leave and he's not very happy with you. I was like, how do you know that? Because he told me. I was like, well, how can he tell you? Because just like Grandpa Stan, he talks to you, and then when your head is close to me, he talks to me. I get the messages. It's very strange. And he first said it when he was like 2.5. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're only just talking.
Yeah.
And you're already talking about Grandpa Stan, who died 10 years ago. Well, at this point, it was 8 years ago. You never met him. You've hardly ever seen a picture of him. And yeah, it's just bizarre. But yeah, I've always been spiritual.
What I find quite interesting about that is you've mentioned about how, just from, you know, with your nutrition, with the food side of things, you're smelling things that, I've got to be honest, I've not noticed. You appear to be tasting things that just haven't occurred to me.
Yeah.
And in terms of, you know, like what you've just said, there's clearly, you appear to be operating at a level of perception that
I'm in tune with the universe.
That's maybe sort of slightly different to other people.
To admit that to people as well. I'm very in tune.
It's now, I think, ordinarily, I might be thinking, you know, what on earth's going on here? Who have I invited on my podcast?
Yeah,
but what's interesting is my dad once told me, my dad's pretty much like me. He's not. Am I spiritual? Yeah, to a degree. Plus, I do believe in fate to a degree. I'm not religious, but my dad had told me about a time, we're just discussing like sort of spirits and possibly our equivalent of Shadow Man. But my dad was telling me about a time in his life when he was really down and just really couldn't see a way out of his situation. He said he saw his dad who had died and who just told him everything would be all right. And my dad's not the kind of guy that would invent something like that. He would, you know, I mean, he's one for a bit of a wind up and a laugh, but he wouldn't make something like that up.
Yeah.
And if my dad says that happened, it happened.
Yeah, totally.
There's no, you know, he's honest, he's straight. He's not a bullshitter.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
and it is interesting when you see things, but I mean, it's just, I'm finding it interesting that there's, you know, you've got all this stuff going. Like, I'm not tasting that in the water, I'm not tasting that in the products. I've been made aware by people like you telling me, and as I said, right now, it's really quite big on social media. The whole, you know, natural products, the crap that people, you know, that's been put in our water, the additives. I mean, people have talked for a while about additives, perhaps, but you know, not to the degree that they are doing now. And it's just interesting that you've seen that and used it as the inspiration for your business in many ways. So I mean, in terms of what you've been doing, I mean, I think it wouldn't be unfair to assume that you've got quite a big chefing background or cookery background, but from what I've learned about you so far, I'm kind of thinking, well, it could have come from anywhere.
Yeah, well, my mum was a home economics teacher when I was like, that was what she taught at Aylesbury College.
Right.
She taught home economics, so she bought that. When we were born, I'm the second one of four, and so from 4 years old, we were making cakes and doing eggs and like messing around in the kitchen, grinding meat to make mince meat and stuff like that with the clamp on the worktop meat grinder. We did lots of stuff by hand.
So you've been aware of how food's put together.
Yeah, totally. All my life, really. So, yeah, I just I've just always liked making food. I've always liked actual food. I don't like the idea of adding something in that isn't food to cheat the public and to I don't know, right? It's just like a mouthfeel that's not natural. It's a taste that's not natural. It's I think that things. I mean, I've had people in the past say, a couple of people. A lad in Scotland bought some sauce. Say, "Oh, I've been told by one of my mate is one of your best champions. He buys loads of your products." And so I've ordered 3. He said, "I've got to be honest, I'm not going to be chimping any longer." He said, "I won't be buying them again." I was like, "Oh, what was that then? What do you perceive as being the problem?" He's like, "Well, I like smooth sauces." I'm like, "Oh, right. You like the non-natural kind of feeling, type things like ketchup and smooth things like, like I don't know, like mayonnaise and stuff like that." So, whereas mine are still bitty,
right?
They're actually food, so I don't blitz them to within an inch of their life. They're made to go with food, so you're not supposed to be just drinking a shot of it and going, "Oh, that's really bitty." You'd put it with a mouthful of food, and then you're not going to notice the bits.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's designed to go with, like, for instance, the pineapple sauce. People are like, "Oh, that's a bit sweet. I don't really like sweet." Yeah. Do you like ketchup? Yeah. What do you put that with? Gammon and stuff like that. Yeah, that's what this is for. It's for things like gammon and sausages, bacon, all those different things.
Yeah.
It's for eggs in the morning. It's for ice cream. Some people use it for salads and new potato salad.
If you're enjoying this content, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to let you know exactly when another podcast's going to drop. So from sausages to ice cream.
Yeah, people use them for all different things. I mean, like the pineapple one, and then there's a strawberry one is the mild limited edition for January and February. That's good for that sort of the white fish as well. Whereas I wouldn't put that pineapple sauce with white fish because it's got apple cider vinegar in it.
Yeah.
And in fact, the vinegar that I use is sulfite free. Because you don't need it. It's acid.
Yeah.
You don't need sulfites. It's just it doesn't make any sense.
So so basically, then you've been you from an early age, you've been putting stuff together. You've been introduced to food. You've then gone on this quite an incredible journey.
Yeah, it's kind of it's not been a linear. It's like it's been like almost scattered because like in the 90s, obviously you could walk out of one job or get sacked and leave or whatever it is, and just essentially take your CVs and letter round to 30 different companies, 100 different companies, and if anybody got back in contact with you, like Cardale Doors or whatever it was, we can garage doors, AFS automated fascia systems making the wooden panels for like Jaguars and things like that.
Yeah.
What else? I don't know. Yeah, commercial tyre retreading. Did that for a bit. Silk screen printing. Working for Gemini Transmissions, making gearboxes for British American Racing. Injection moulding, plastic injection moulding, rotational plastic moulding.
So it's
just all
quite
sorts
a
of
journey.
different things.
Quite a journey.
Working in kitchens, running, looking after pubs, lots of different things.
At what point did you decide you wanted to work for yourself then?
After having worked at so many different places and had so many different ideas of how things should maybe be changed just a little bit to make it more more efficient, essentially. I'd just like to get to the end result as quickly and as efficiently as possible. I don't see the point in wasting time when you can just all you got to do is pivot on this, and you can just arrive at that goal a lot easier and quicker. But it was like, it's not in the budget, and then 6 months later, it's like, well, we're doing this, but it's my idea as the manager. That happened so many times. So after I broke a bicep off here, and then this one got moved down here because the tendon was torn. I couldn't then still lift the 30-metre lengths of pipe, 3-inch pipe with wine, the wine bottle in place, and lift the filter housings up and stuff like that. So I then tried my hand at medical recruitment on the phones all the time, which then led me down the path of I'm absolutely useless. Although I got 200 odd doctors and 22 hospitals,
it does teach you sales.
I didn't get paid a penny because it was based on 100% commission. It was like, well, I'll finish all these. I'll finish the first ones. I never ended up. It never ended up coming to fruition because he was like, well, you don't know the Guardia stuff. You don't know all these other different things. Blah blah blah. I'm like, well, if you don't teach me it, I'm never going to be able to do it, and then I'll never earn any money. And you'll have all these doctors and all this other stuff, and I won't earn anything from it. So then it led me down this route of, oh, right, okay, so I can't do the physical thing, which I've always done. I can't do the kind of mental job, which is not physical at all. It's just literally being on a computer. Although I can do it, I'm not getting paid for it. I can't help pay mortgage. I can't help do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. She's better off without me. So that led me down the route of wanting to kill myself. And then 3 days later, I stood in the hallway with a knife in my chest. And then I started walking, and it broke through the skin. And I just had this epiphany, this like a million, well, like 100 images all in just a second, which stopped me walking. And one of them was like, fix old family home. She's going to come home and find me with a knife in my chest, blood all over the place. That's going to ruin all the childhood memories of that home. She's then going to be living in a flat on her own or whatever, really miserable that she's not still in the family home, which we just bought off her dad. It was all those other things that are just like they just all hit at once, and it was just like, and I was just like, what am I doing? And I just stepped away, and I was still crying when she came home for like 3 hours later. And then I got given some chili plants, some chili seedlings, right? Because I was growing chilies for myself, big sun habaneros, and bird-eyed chilies. So.
How long, sorry to interrupt, how long ago was this?
Oh, that was 2013, 14, when I wanted to do that, when I was in that place. But it had obviously been going on for a long period of time.
Build up
it was a snowball effect, and it was just like, like you'd wake up, you'd not be able to sleep at night, or conversations of 30 years ago that you wish you could change. Just stupid stuff. It was just overthinking, overworking, all that other stuff that happened. And then because of the physical, real-time things happened, and then my brain, because I was on my own for 10 hours a day, just supposedly be on the phone. The last 2 weeks of that, I was not even phoning people. I just couldn't even deal with it. I was just, I'm not even earning here. I'm doing this. I'm completely wasting my time. I'm now, what was it then? 42? I don't know. No, not 42. I don't know what I was then. Anyway, whatever age I was. So I started growing these chilies, and then my sister asked me to, when they were about 2 or 3 months old, there were no pods on the plants, but I had 25 plants left because 3 died out of the little tray of 28. So I had all these plants, so I wrote down all these chilies that I had and tried to find. She asked me to make a Manvise food challenge for university. So she was at Northampton doing a shoes and accessories course. She's like, we want to do a chicken eating competition. I was like, what do you want to do that for? She goes, we want to boost our course for the local press. So what we're going to do is charge a £5 for all these get the money, boost our course for the local press, and it'll hopefully, for next season, hopefully more people will apply for the course because it's going down less and less each term. So I made us this sauce, and I was like, oh, that's delicious. Oh my God, that's just put my mouth. Oh, I call it mouthfucker. Did a picture of the devil licking a chili, and I just nicked this thing off. I just typed into clip up, devil licking a chili crying, and it came up with this picture. I was like, that'll do. So I just put on this A4 sheet of paper, which I literally just stuck to these 2 litres of sauce, and it went down really, really well. And
have you always liked spicy food?
Not really, no. I remember when I was 12, we went to this place called Tiffany Grill in Brackley, where I'm from, my hometown where I grew up. And there was a chili con carne. My dad liked chili, and he said, you should get this. This is nice. Because I didn't like white bait. I'm like, it's whole fish. What are you on about? I'm not eating a whole fish. It's got eyes in it and that. I'm like 12. He's like, so have this chili. And it put me off chili for the rest of my life until I got to about, I don't know, maybe 30.
It's interesting that my dad did a similar thing, but on purpose with whiskey.
Oh, right.
He's about 6 years old. So, I was asking him about whiskey. So, there you go. So I tried the whiskey. Oh, and I still don't touch it now. I tried a similar thing with one of my daughters on vodka, but she quite liked it. So it doesn't always work. Yeah,
one of my mates makes a great vodka. Racing Distillery just makes they make a great potato vodka. It's so smooth. It's the best. Yeah, it's probably the best vodka I've ever had, actually, to be honest. So yeah, shout out to you, Dan. Anyway, so yeah, back to the sauce. So I took some of this sauce out to my friends live in Nerja in Spain, and they're like, I know you've been struggling. Like I've been messaging with Vicky, Mrs. Chimp, and we paid for your flights to come out for a long weekend, but like bring some of that sauce out, won't you? I want to know what it's like, because he was growing nagas and habaneros and stuff. So he's like, and he used to run a Mexican restaurant in Milton Keynes before that. So he said, yeah, this is great. He said, you can't call it MF Light if you're gonna sell it. He's like, you can. Yeah. I was like, well, I only made it for Emily. He's like,
won't go down well at Tesco's.
Yeah, exactly. You're not getting any shops with that name. He said, you'll have to come up with a new name. So overnight, and he said it's a bit too hot. He said you'll have to scale it back. Like it's too hot for like an everyday sauce. So I was like, okay. So overnight, we were like, well, I'm curly and Vic's short, and we were like, nah, nobody wants short and curlies on their dinner. It's like, that's not the way. You can't do it. Because I was just going to put a picture of us two so people understood why it was called that. But it's still, nobody's going to want to use that. And we were out on a walk the next morning, and I was teaching his kids how to do this blade of grass thing. That noise like that.
Yeah.
It's like, look, kids, this one's got a hole in it. What noise that's going to make? It just went, sounds like a screaming chimp. I was like, yes, I'm going to call that. And he was like, we both high-fived. It was like, yeah, we're going to call that sauce. I'm going to call that sauce the Screaming Chimp. And then we went to celebrate, come up with the name Screaming Chimp. And we sat in a Brazilian restaurant. And they bring out pineapple at the end of your meal. I was like, what? I've had this in a Brazilian restaurant in Birmingham. What's this for then? Why'd you bring up pineapple? And Vic was like, well, it's got enzymes in which breaks down protein. It's very good at aiding digestion. So I was like, oh, I'm going to have a Google and see if there's any pineapple chili sauces. There aren't any. Right, I'm going to make the first one then. But it turns out it wasn't the first. It turns out, obviously, in Costa Rica, where the pineapples are grown, I'm sure they got thingy. Recently, I've had a girl from the Philippines say, look, my gran makes something exactly like this. I'm like, get in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, so she's been making it for years. I'm like, well, so then I looked into like pineapple chili sauce, and obviously it wasn't nowhere near. So on my website, on the pineapple description, I've had to change it, because obviously when you learn new information, you can't just stick with the old nonsense.
Yeah, that's it.
It ain't long until somebody calls you out on it, like, you know. But yeah, I've had nods from other people that make pineapple chili sauces now, saying, you know, like, if you hadn't have made the first in Europe and the first on Google as well, you know, we wouldn't be doing this, and I wouldn't have won an award for it. And so thanks.
So would you say with this then, I don't know, it's circumstances sort of almost forced you to make this leap into working for yourself, or?
Yeah, no, there was always that. It was, like I say, there was always that I want to, but never really had. My it was always confidence with me, and that really stems from school and from. I just didn't. I mean, it's funny when I say it to my old school friends. They're like, "What do you mean you weren't confident? You were like the life and soul. You were always making people laugh. You were always dancing about and just being silly, doing acrobatics all over the place and all that sort of stuff." I'm like, well, then it's down to me inside. It's not maybe how I project. It's down to my own self-esteem, I suppose.
I think it's Jimmy Carr said there's three versions of yourself. There's the version that people see every day. Then there's a version that people close to you see, and then there's that version only you see. Only you.
Yeah, when you're being truly honest with yourself.
That's it.
Yeah,
and that can be quite scary. And I mean, you know, obviously having met you, you're really outgoing. You come across as confident, sure of yourself, and people say the same about me. And
but it's because I'm shy.
Yeah, and it's that thing. It's like, just, you know, sort of when you are on your own, that's when. And I think to a degree, certainly with entrepreneurs, I think everyone gets that, because there's that element of perhaps not fitting in, not wanting to do things the way that everyone else is doing things, maybe coming across as awkward.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's just seeing things in a different way. And I think what you've been saying has been fascinating about your perceptions. I mean, and it is interesting, because I mean, for me personally, I'm a Marvel nerd.
Oh yeah, good.
And I was watching Daredevil last night, And his
Is it
whole
good? Is it good?
Yeah, I quite like it. I like it. It's been getting a bit of hate online, but you know it always does. You've got people that just hate Disney Plus because Disney bought it.
Yeah.
But the main thing about Daredevil, he's got these hyper senses, and that's what's coming into my head as you're saying. You know, it's like this superpower. I don't know if you've been tested for neurodivergence or anything like that, but
No, I just test myself.
that's yeah. I mean that is a potential symptom of that as well.
Yeah.
But just that perception that you've got, these things that you're noticing that I haven't. And
Vic's the same though. She won't. She doesn't notice like the smell in the house. She doesn't notice. She did notice the water. It was really, really bad. It was literally like somebody's put bleach in water. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
It was vile.
See, I just don't think that would have bothered me to the same degree.
Oh,
I'm not saying I couldn't have tasted it, but it's.
Well, it's just, like, would you drink? Would you if somebody put bleach in water right in front of you? Would you drink?
No.
There you go.
No.
Yeah. It's like I really break it down, and I really am just very honest about what it is I like and don't like.
Yeah.
With myself. So like I know I'm inherently lazy, so I've got my life where the first sort of 3 or 4 years of doing Screaming Chimp, we went to trade shows, we did this, you know, we went all over the place. Vic was out chimping as well as I was, you know, when she wasn't doing her day job. So
did you manage to make it pay straight away, or were you like a part-time job? So straight away there's that demand there.
Yeah. I kind of regret, or I don't know. I kind of regret it in a way. When I used to work at Greencroft Bottling Company just down the road.
Yeah.
And we went to a Christmas party of the MD, and at his house, and he's like, right, so you know people like it, yeah, okay, right, let's get you into some buyers, into some, you know, like we've got buyers in Asda and Marks and Spencer's, all these different places, and I was like, okay, and then I never followed it up because of my confidence in myself, not just myself, but even though people loved them and saying they were different to anything they'd had, and blah blah blah, and this is like what we need in the country and all that sort of stuff. I still, like even now, after getting all the great taste, you know, some great taste awards and winning Condiment Brand of the Year.
So we should just point out your trophy there while we're on that one. Award trophy,
22 karat gold,
multi-award winner. Yeah, he didn't realise I'm stealing that and putting it on eBay.
Yeah, so I've just got it again this year, so that's platinum.
Wow.
Yeah, the award is platinum this year, so that's Hall of Fame. So I can't see how I can win it again, to be honest. That's just but that's, I mean, it's like it's not the whole. It's like on the planet, it's a small area.
Yeah.
But it's from the M25 to Scotland and Manchester and Middlesbrough. It's massive. It's like.
It's a massive achievement.
Yeah, it's the whole of the north of England. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's nice to get that. But even though there's still the imposter syndrome, and there's still the little bit in the back of my mind going,
I was going to say,
you're not good enough, you're not this, and you're not that.
It's very internal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just from childhood. It's just from it stems from it. I suppose maybe I need to like spend more time with like business-minded people that believe in your product and that can help you grow. But I've kind of got to the situation now where, because I have my son in the morning.
I'll say you've got a young son, haven't you?
Yeah. My son, he goes to the local school, so I walk him down there for like 9:15, back home for 9, do a bit of chimp work. Then go and pick him up at 3. We have our afternoon, because I'm out chimping all weekend.
Yeah.
So, because I really like the face-to-face thing with people still. If I just said to people, I said to a few people on our group Chimpions on Facebook, because everybody that buys is a champion of the world. So Vicky set up a group Chimpions a few years ago. And
is Vicky full time with you in the business?
Oh God, no, she's a pharmacist.
All right.
No, she's never been. I think. She used to do occasional markets and Christmas markets, and some food festivals and stuff like that at the weekends. But since Albie's been around,
Yeah.
you know, I think she went to do at Sedgefield Farmers Market, and I was like, look, it's not really worth doing. And now he's out of the little travel cot thing.
Yeah.
You know, the little, whatever it is, the little square thing, the travel cage. Now he's out and running around. There's no, you can't do the stall, so there's no point. It's like, just stop doing it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not worth your time and effort. So that's it. Over the years, I've worked out what's worth time and effort. Return on investment is not just about how much something costs. It's about, like, I'm actually getting more out of spending more time with my lad.
Yeah.
And so now, January, February, March, because I've over the years realised they're very lean months anyway. So what's the point in trying to slog it out and go out and stand there for 8 hours and have £100 profit?
Yeah.
It's just not worth bothering with. So I'd rather spend that time. Those 3 months I mainly do just Saturdays, and then I'll just have the Sunday off, as well as my 15 and whatever hours during the week. So it's really nice. We, you know, since he's been at school, we've actually had a better relationship because of that. So I'm quite happy. Because even if I tried growing it, I really don't have the time to service it.
No. I was going to say, so what's the future look like for you?
Much the same, I would imagine.
Much the same, just because, I mean...
I did get my USA trademarks last year because I wanted to push into America. It would take massive investment and a massive amount of time. And I don't have the time to service it. So I'm like...
No.
You have to just... although it's cost me £700 to get those trademarks, I'm like, well, okay, it's a £700 lesson.
Yeah, which I think is a brilliant way to look at it.
Yeah.
And I mean, your conclusion is you'd rather prioritise that time where it does actually matter.
Yeah, because I've listened to so many people over the years that have grown their companies and missed their childhood, and missed their kids' childhood.
Yeah.
Now, I can understand that. That's not too bad when like, I'm 51. I don't know how much time I got left.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, I was naughty when I was young, you know, with my health. So I don't really know what my internal organs are like. I don't know what my system's like properly. When I've been for health checks, they say you're fine, but, like, you know, you never know. So if I was 20 and had a 4.5-year-old,
yeah,
then I probably would spend a bit more time growing, because I'd have the energy to do it. Now I'm 51. I don't have as much energy. I don't know how much time I've got left. He's 4.5. Yeah, this hit home. This is like Albie, like I said, saying about him being in tune. He said, "I'm going to miss you." I was like, "What?" He said, "Yeah, you're going to die when I'm a teenager." Thanks, son. but what makes you say that? You know, I just know, don't you?
Oh dear.
He's like that. He's very much like. He's very just like I'm just no. He said he just keeps on saying stuff like,
yeah.
I'm
not sure.
Obviously, all kids know, like, they think they know everything.
Yeah.
But he's like that.
He does seem to have a level of perception.
Yeah, he's like that with the spiritual side of things, and, like, knowing the future, and all those. I don't know, things that people would just be like,
yeah,
that is not real. That's not real life.
It just does highlight, though, doesn't it? The how crucial it is to make things work, and, like I say, to take advantage of that time, which I think is a fantastic lesson.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that is a brilliant lesson that anyone could take from that. Make the most of your time. And Neil, definitely. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast.
I've loved it,
and
mate.
a great one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for watching.
There we go. The first episode of the third series. Thank you.